This is History Myths and Mythconceptions, and today's myth is: Monotheism is more advanced than polytheism. This is something that's been taught by the monotheistic religions, and as a consequence is frequently echoed by secular or pseudo-secular scholars in the countries where monotheistic religions once had a dominant position. It is often presented that transition from polytheism to monotheism is a big step forward both for the society and the spirituality of an individual, as the belief in one God is more systematic, more intellectual, more philosophically sophisticated, and basically much less weird than the belief in the deities, who every now and then have 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head of a crocodile. This is not true, and it is mostly just propaganda of the Abrahamic religions, which in time became a part of the tradition in most countries of the world. There is a lot to unpack here, but we'll try to keep it short. And the first thing on the list is that, indeed, there is a serious difference in the overall approach of monotheistic and polytheistic religions. But if you will take a closer look, any polytheistic religion has features of monotheism, and any monotheistic religion has features of polytheism. The majority of well-established polytheistic religions has a tendency of presenting their gods as the aspects of one main deity, which sometimes can be the universe itself. This shift can be seen in contemporary religions like Hinduism. The same thing can be found in the religions of the past, like Greco-Roman polytheism. Obviously, a significant part of the followers of these religions might ignore that and just stick to the rituals. But this element is always there. There are also peculiar situations of religions like Buddhism, which is usually promoted as a religion without God. But at the same time, it is polytheistic and incorporates hundreds of Hindu gods. But they have an interesting overarching structure that turns it essentially into some sort of monotheism. Now, monotheistic religions. Pretty much any monotheistic religion is in fact henotheistic in disguise. The word henotheism means that there is one main god, but there are also subordinate mini-gods. This view of monotheism sometimes meets a lot of criticism from the practitioners of the Abrahamic religions. But in the end, it becomes a dispute about the definitions of words. Most prominently, the word God. The Abrahamic religions most of the time understand God as the omnipotent creator of the universe. Polytheists might have a different understanding of the word. For example, the Greco-Roman concept of a god, or theos in Greek, or deus in Latin, is essentially a powerful immortal being. So if, for example, a Greco-Roman polytheist looks at any Abrahamic religion, he easily finds lots of powerful immortal beings. And therefore, any monotheistic religion looks a bit like a strange variation of polytheism, with one principal deity and a number of lesser deities, who are labeled as saints, prophets, angels, or whatever, but they sometimes have the exact same function as some of the gods in the polytheistic systems. In a way, the relationship between the Abrahamic God and angel Gabriel is pretty much the same as the relationship between Zeus and Hermes in Greek religion. Monotheists apply their concept of the god to polytheism and usually see lots of false gods. They don't see the actual entity that corresponds to their definition of the god, even if it is there. And most of the time, as we said earlier, it is there. What is funny about all of this is not only the difference of definitions of the same words, but also the fact that the definitions of the Abrahamic religions mostly come from the understanding of the divine left to them by the philosophers with a polytheistic background. First of all, we are talking about Aristotle, who forms the skeleton of theology in Christianity and Islam. The concept of the unmoved mover came from the polytheistic system of beliefs, and later was borrowed by the systems who just couldn't come up with something better. Monotheistic religions have enough arrogance to say that their system is more advanced, but they don't have enough arrogance to stop stealing from polytheism in order to create a coherent theology that won't be intellectually challenged. Another important thing here that shouldn't be ignored is the fact that polytheistic systems have more, let's call it, customization tools for personal needs of a believer. You can always choose favorite gods from the existing set, and more or less ignore the gods you don't really like. It doesn't work this way in monotheism, and any monotheistic religion is notoriously paranoid about the way people practice their faith and always ready for another heresy, another witch hunt, or another schism. Which leads us to the last point on today's brief list. Monotheistic religions are much less tolerant towards other religions. Polytheistic religions, although obviously not all of them, tolerate other religions more easily. One more god, not a big deal. To a point when this attitude helped Greco-Roman religion not only to tolerate, but to integrate foreign cults. Although Christians later claimed that they were mercilessly persecuted. But there is no supporting evidence for that except for the religious texts. But this issue should be addressed separately. So, in the end, the whole idea that monotheism is more advanced than polytheism is simply preposterous. They are either comparable, or polytheism is actually more advanced. Yes, polytheistic systems are becoming more monotheistic over time, and pretty much any monotheistic religion evolved from the polytheistic religion. But in a way, they take a big step forward and then just take 2 steps back.